some people. I believe I was in here and I was saying a lot of people don't like the fact that you and the Lancers together. There's a lot of anti-blackness. There's a lot of racists in those comments. They don't like it. They're mad. She came in and she came in my comments and she says, no, Lance has attacked a 13-year-old, and saying that he is, I don't know what, if she said, no, she said presenting that if he's presenting, then he is white, blah, 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 blah. And that he attacked this 13-year-old. And the reason why she believes he attacked the 13-year-old is because the 13-year-old had just made a post. And then you guys decided to post what you post about white passing and white presenting.
Okay.
And I said, hold up. Is this your opinion about this, or is this facts? Because I only want to deal with facts. She requested to get in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she got in the box and I asked her a question. I said, listen, who said it? And she says, oh no, it wasn't Martin. It wasn't Lance. It was actually Miss Jones. And I said, what did Miss Jones say? Mm-hmm. And she said, this is her exact words. She said, if he is presenting, then he needs to cut up his indigenous card.
Yes.
And I said, wait a minute. What does presenting mean? And then she explained what presenting mean. And I said, so are you saying that Miss Jones said, if someone is presenting, that they just need to cut up their indigenous card? And she said, yes, that's what. She didn't say yes. She tried to talk about it in an evasive way, but I got her to say yes. That's what was said. She didn't say that's what Miss Jones said. She said that's what was said. And I said, well, I don't think Miss Jones said that. I don't think she would ever say something like that. But if you have the receipts, please bring them. And then she said she has receipts. And I said, wonderful, bring them. Please don't tell me anybody's opinion. I don't care about opinions. Everybody has them, like we all has assholes. I do not care about that. I want the facts from the source, because I have spoken to the source and I know she would not ever say what you're saying. She then got out of my box because I removed her. And then she said, oh, and Dami can verify this because she's been in here the whole time. Oh, well, maybe she does not have, maybe the screenshots have been removed. Because you know how they remove the screenshots. I said, so what are you saying? You don't have the screenshots? Or what are you saying? I don't know. And she then she came back and she said to us, I have the receipts. And I said, well, me and you are not friends. Why don't you follow me and then you can send it to me? And then she did not send it. And this is how I know motive was different, because she never sent it to keep the conversation between us. She did made a goddamn post. And in this post, it says, respectfully do not, impact is greater than intent. That's something that I've been saying for years. That's how I teach my classes. But this kind of statement is patently harmful and unacceptable. Respectfully do not speak on what determines indigeneity if you are not part of our community. And then she screenshots your post that someone put under then she screenshots your comment that someone put under you and Modern Warriors post about if you identify as white passing or white presenting, then you are white. Then someone responds to that post and says, be right back. I'm going to. No, but it's really sketchy, so I don't know what it's saying. Oh, can somebody mute their background? Because I'm trying to.
Can y'all hear me right?
Oh, I can hear you, honey.
Okay, I just want to make a point. I want everybody to learn from what we learned in that moment in time. Because she read the statement.
Hold on, Nancy, because I want to get to this part because she wants to understand what just happened. Then this person responds, Daddy Bung Legs says, be right back, gonna tell my son he's white and cut up his status card, even though his two native parents is white, although he has two native parents and he is white passing. And you said in all seriousness, you should. Your son will find out he is white, whether you or someone else tells him. Why not prepare him for the conversation now? But she said that you said to cut up his card, which you never said.
Which I never said. And so the thing about this tactic and the use of the word attack, the problem, there's so many things. I'll start from the first thought that I have about the use of the word attack and the use of the word, this is violence. Angela Davis had that interview when she was in jail, and she's like so confused that you have the audacity to talk to me about violence, given the violence that our people face every single day. And you want to talk to me about violence because you don't like the words I'm saying? So just even the use of the term attack, I'm already pulled back by it. She gave me a hypothetical to work with. She said, so I should just rip up my son's native card. And I said, hey, I mean, maybe you should. If you have a admittedly white presenting son and you can't possibly handle the conversations that he's going to have throughout his entire life about his identity, then pick which one you want him to be. If you are suggesting to rip up your son's card, I said, sure. Yeah, go ahead. You should.
There you go.
You're talking hypotheticals. I'm agreeing with your hypothetical.
Let's go, baby.
We're existing in a hypothetical world right now. That's not for me. It's just that I can't say anything about a person's indigeneity. Nothing about what we said is qualifying indigeneity. And the thing that I don't understand is, why is it normalized? And why am I not protected when I say I'm a Black woman and someone goes, no, you're mixed. And I go, no, I'm Black. And they're like, yeah, but you look mixed. And I say, no, I'm just light-skinned Black. Both my parents are Black. Their parents are Black. I'm Black. I'm not mixed. That's normalized. And I just deal with this. This is my identity being brought into question every day of my life. It is not, your identity is not being brought into question when you are a white passing person. Your identity is assumed because of how you present. It's not until you correct someone and say, actually, I'm mixed, and they go, no, you're not. You're white. And you go, no, I'm mixed. And they're like, yeah, but you look white. And you're like, yeah, but despite what I look like, I'm mixed. That is the plight of the mixed person. And E.B. Reddy, when we first became friends, one of the things that we connected on was our distaste for like the plight of the mixed people.
Exactly.
This like, oh my God, life is so hard. I'm mixed. I'm not white enough for Black people. I'm not white enough for white people. And I'm not Black enough for Black people. That's not the same as walking in a room and being a white person. And when you are that, it means that nobody darts a look at you. Nobody side eyes you. Nobody looks at your choice of partner and decides who you'd be more appropriately matched with, because no one questions you. And that was the point of the post. And I get that people so desperately needed nuance. And in hindsight, maybe I could have given the nuance. But the point is, it's not that I'm deciding you're white. It's that I don't understand why it's offensive for me to tell a mixed person who presents as white that you have no idea what it's like to be a Black and brown person. I get that you're mixed. I can't take that away from you. I can't take your parental heritage away from you. I can't take the kinds of foods you brought up with. I can't change the dances that you know. I can't change the regalia that you wear. I can't do any of that for you. There's a brilliant creator who was talking about white presenting Native people. You got to own your identity, because this is what we have to do all the time. This is the reality of so many people's existence. But because you have the comet tail of white privilege, you also have the fragility that comes with it. And that goes unchecked when you toggle back and forth between benefiting from white supremacy and claiming to be a victim of it. Yep. You cannot be both the beneficiary and the victim of a system of oppression.
Absolutely.
Child.
I'm mad. I'm sorry. Can I hop in? Because I don't know how much longer. I might have to hop out for like 15 minutes and then get back in, but I'm very
Go
upset.
ahead,
And the
Nancy.
reason I'm upset is because what I hear in Miss Jones's voice right now is what I commonly hear in Black women who literally don't do anything but speak logic and speak truth. And they get put in a place because of stupidity to start questioning what they did and what they said. And I don't want her to feel like that or
Me
exist
either.
in that way. Y'all can go to hell. All y'all that was ever to put her, as any Black woman in that position, to feel like what I said, I know it's logical. I know it makes sense. But now I have to sit here and question my Blackness and what the words that came out of my Black mouth, because what you can't assert to yourself that I could speak that way. There was no nuance needed. That statement you made in the video was A, B, C, all the way to Z, concrete, complete. Okay, and if you are struggling to understand it, that is a plight for you, not for her to adjust or add anything to.
Thank you.
So can I say something to that though?
Shit. I second that shit. Because
Can I say something to that though?
Black women are constantly having to explain ourselves and coddle people all the time. It is a laboring work that we do. Anytime we say anything, oh, we have to think about this community, that community. Who thinks about us? While they're attacking this black woman nonstop, nobody is holding space for how she may be feeling. Ever. I have never seen a post where anyone outside of the black community has held space for Miss Jones from the beginning.
Agreed.
Until now. And so now the requirement that Miss Jones needs to add nuance to that statement, it's ridiculous. I don't think she owes anyone nuance.
I agree. I literally agree with what y'all are saying. But I think what is lost without nuance being given, not saying that she had to or it was owed to anyone, because what was said was that it was a video with a Native man and a Black woman. So from that, without the nuance on whom you're exactly speaking about, the demographic, whether it's mixed people, whether it's Black, whether it's Native, opens up this black hole for everybody and they mama to have inserted themselves. And then just like, and I made a video about it, I literally said in this video, people take what they know of Lance's personal life that has been publicly displayed,
what they think they know.
They base their opinion solely on that.
What they think they know.
There was so much from that video y'all had. I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw it, I thought differently. But then, like, looking at comments and looking at response videos, I was like, okay, this is just, it's turning into a mess. The amount of anti-blackness that came from it, I even said in my video, the amount of people saying, well, she's mixed. I said, you're a Black woman. And I also, and you commented, replied to me under I Speak's post where I had said, because the amount of non-Native people speaking on the quantification of Native blood is ridiculous to me, because that's not our place. And
has nothing to do with her post,
I had from that video. Huh?
But to be fair, that has nothing to do with her post.
Also,
she was not quantifying anyone.
Have to acknowledge.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that she was wrong in her thoughts, how she feels, or what she said. What I'm saying is we have to acknowledge what came from that post.
What came from that post was a whole bunch of people who had issues with them before this post. And they created this dichotomy about what the post meant to them, which they never said. And people do that all the time. Yeah. And Black women are always held at a different standard. Now she must have nuance with what I believe was a clear statement. It could have applied to either of their communities. And it more so applies to the Black community, if we want to be real clear on that. That is something we've heard throughout our lifetime, the passing and the presenting. That is part of our history. So I think if anyone could speak on that, she could.
Yeah.
I don't think Lance owes anyone any nuance, and I certainly don't think she does. We are always required to add things to it. Why the fuck are we doing this emotional labor all the time?
And also,
I understand that.
it's everyone's platform to do with what they want. And I am admittedly an agitator. And I understand that you don't like that it opened this black hole, but I don't think that anything is, what's the quote? Can't be changed until it's faced. And I like the purpose of bringing you, do Lance and I strike you as unintelligent people?
Not at all.
I think that even if you don't have to like us, you don't have to agree with us, but I think you can agree that we are at least sound of mind.
And I've never
we did that on
that or
purpose.
questioned that.
And all of I don't mind it when people show their stripes. I don't mind that there are people who I've been following for months who are now berating me, tagging me in other people's posts. My notifications are going crazy. The thing is, folks don't know what's happening on the other side of our phones. None of you guys don't know how many death threats both of us get a day, even before that. You don't know what it feels like to be walking around and worry that when somebody recognizes him, that it's going to be violent. So I don't feel like I need to come into this platform and fashion myself in any particular way in order to protect anybody's feelings or avoid conversations that I want to have. And I will give you one piece of information about this. This post was strategic. This post, I'm observing how people are responding to it. And this post is a segue to deeper conversations. One of those conversations being, where is this energy when Afro-Indigenous people are fighting for their place in the Native community? And nobody is coming to include them. We was kings. Why don't you just be proud that you're African? You're trying to steal our culture. You're not Native. You don't look Native. You're not Native. You don't. But when it comes to white passing and white presenting Natives, suddenly, full stop. Suddenly, all shades matter. Suddenly, we're all one family. We're all together. And somebody in here asked me about Australia. Australia's issues around race are not the same as the United States. So I'm opting out of engaging in conversations with people from Australia because we are in totally different camps. So anybody who's got that Australian thing, I acknowledge that I stuck my toe into a subject that I didn't really fully understand. And I'm pulling myself out of it because I'm in the States. I'm a Black American woman, and that's what I speak on. So these are all observations. Lance and I are academic types. And we're making observations about humanity and how people respond differently to certain things. The anti-blackness is real. The anti-blackness is so pervasive that it doesn't matter what Lance says. It doesn't matter what I say. Someone's going to find a reason to be upset about it. It doesn't matter how sound it is. And the amount of nuance that's being added to what we said. You think this, you're doing that, you're invalidating. You're saying, so someone tagged and said, you're saying white people shouldn't exist. No, I said, when you pass, and passing is a choice, because my great-grandmother had 4 children. 2 of them were white presenting. 1 of them was white passing. I want to know who knows the difference between those 2 babies. I want to know what's the difference between my 2 great-grandmother's children, the one that's white passing and the one that's white presenting. The one that's white passing, I have no idea who the person is. I don't know what she made of her life, because white passing means that she isolated and ostracized herself from her Black side of the family, leaned into the fact that she looks white, and dove herself into an assimilated white family. But the one that's white presenting is the person who continues to have that difficult conversation about, I'm Black, you look white, I know I look white, it's because I'm Black. I'm actually, that's the difference between among the white presenting are ones who
is she breaking up, or is that me?
You're breaking up. Miss Jones, you're breaking up, honey.
Oh, here, I think a minute. Let me see. Stand in a different spot.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Tap the screens, please. Go ahead. We see if you talk. We can hear you now, Miss Jones.
Can you hear me now? Is it smooth?
Yeah.
Still breaking up a little bit.
Mike.
I think it's lagging. That's why we hear some of what she says. But it's only her. It's not us. So I'm wondering.
Oh, tap the
Say
screen.
something else, Miss Jones.
Julia said, I'm the only one. Miss Jones is the only one lagging, Ray. Oh, okay. Nuggets forgot to lend her Wi-Fi.
Pink girl,
I'm
girl, go somewhere.
Wi-Fi is actually not even on.
Okay, go ahead. Jones,
Yeah,
you're
You
fine
can hear
now.
me fine now?
Now.
Okay. So, yes. So my grandmother lives her life, all 80 years of them so far, correcting people about who she is racially. That's the difference between white presenting and white passing. But she knows that when she goes into her doctor's, she knows that when she gets seated at a restaurant, she knows that when she gets pulled over by law enforcement, she's a white woman. And what I'm failing to understand is the resistance to accept that that's the skin you're in. I'm not subtracting from your identity. I'm not subtracting from your ancestry. But I think that it's not only delusional to reject the fact that you are walking around the world as a white person. I think it's problematic. And the reason why we posted that about nobody specifically is
Thank you for
because
saying that.
space where white faces and white voices are the representation of the Black and brown experience. Because they get to say, here's my mom, so this gives me, this qualifies me to speak about this particular issue. And you just, if you are not a Black or brown person, the same way I don't know what it's like to be a white looking person, there's just no way that you can position yourself as a representative of a marginalized community. Are you still a part of that community? Do you still have to advocate for that community? Can you use your privilege, pass the mic, and uplift that community? Absolutely. But people seem to be spending more time trying to cling on to the marginalized identity than doing anything to improve the situation of the people who are affected by these systems of oppression simply because of how they look. And I just don't understand how it's like it's I don't see color all over again. So you don't see color when you look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find that to be irkingly problematic.
I do too. And can I say this?
Lance is not on TikTok this weekend because this is what happens when you try to just vocalize and get a conversation going. People are threatening his life.
It's not fair.
So he deleted the app off his phone. So stop being, he's hiding from the thing. So get out your fucking minds about who you think this person is.
Don't know him personally.
You don't know Ray. You don't know Nuggets. You don't know Ed. We are content creators on TikTok and we are whole ass people. And you can't look in the background of my kitchen and tell me what my diet is like. So don't tell me anything about what you think Lance is and what he's doing.
That
he's not
part.
on TikTok again.
And secondly, Lance is not here. And so Miss Jones is speaking on her behalf, what the video was saying and what it meant. And she cleared it. It wasn't about anyone specifically. They posted that video to have a conversation. That's what it was about. So all you guys that came in and start creating and talking about quantum blood period, girl, I just, child, it was just craziness. He's now anti-Semitic. It just, okay, but Taco, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm great. I'm good.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
So my name is Mariah. I recently changed my name to Taco, but I could see because like I am indigenous, and I think and I like that you explained that. Like I really do appreciate that because at first, like I'm light skinned, you know what I mean? So I know like as someone who is darker, like I know my experiences are different. I know the problem too is like how you said, and you did explain that too. Like we like fight for like our indigeneity when we're like with others because they don't believe us. And I do get mistaken for like Mexican or something a lot, but I am Hispanic also. But a part of it too is like my brother and sister, like they have the same we have the same dad, but they have the same mom. And like my sister's dark, you know, and my brother's like really light. You wouldn't know that he was Native. And a part of it too is it's cultural also. So it's kind of like, you know, like our background and kind of like living on the reservation. And so I feel like it has a lot to do with like what you said with presenting, but also like if we're white presenting, and because I had a question about that too, if it was like what other people perceive us or if what we perceive of ourselves, because like growing up on the res and going to Spokane, you know, to the town, to the city, like it was kind of a culture shock, you know. And even though like I may have fit in like like with white people, but it was like my experiences were different, and it was still like what is it called again? The imposter syndrome, I guess. I don't know. So I'm just giving the other perspective.
No, that's not what imposter means. That does. But I get what you're saying.
That's not what it is.
Imposter syndrome is
I
not.
thought that's what it was.
No, it imposter syndrome. And from my understanding, what's imposter syndrome? It means like, and you are afraid of success. That's what I thought. Let me look it up because I like to look things up.
I'm not smart enough for this job. I'm not good enough.
But I get what you're saying. Like but if you're talking about Taco, if you're referring to her, somebody's talking, so I don't know who I'm talking. But if you're referring to her post, she said, if you identify, not if someone perceives you to be this. She said, if you identify as white passing or white presenting, then you are white. That's if you, not if I see you as that. Because then if I see you as that, then you can easily say, no, that's not what I am. I am this, I am that, and I am this. But if you are walking around saying I am white passing or I'm white presenting, then that is you identifying yourself. And in my community as a Black woman, we don't walk around saying that. So that's not something I've never heard that before. But that was an if statement, if you identify. And I think people missed that part, and it just went on it just went to a level that it probably shouldn't have went to. But I also feel like that conversation needed to go there because I have, as a Black woman, and that grandmother was indigenous, and my grandfather was given away because she had a baby with a Black man during those times, and he was not accepted, and therefore he could not live on the reservation. And I never got to know that family, that side of my family. Never seen my grandmother twice in my great grandmother twice in my life. And so I feel like if we're going to start having this conversation as Black people and indigenous people, then we need to be honest about the history between the two, and how the Afro-Indigenous people are not accepted very easily inside the indigenous community, and that the acceptance is leaning towards the lighter complected indigenous people. And so that is a conversation that that is important to have. So if by that post it leads to that conversation, I'm extremely happy. However, what I'm not happy about is people still in this comment section continue to say what this woman clearly said that she did not say.
Can I add something
Go
here? She got 95. There's a thread with a young Native kid, and he's asking, am I allowed to be Native because I'm white? And it's probably up to 90 comments. If you see me in there, you said they commented on Native kids' post and then made the video. It was targeted. No. Because, first of all, Lance doesn't really get into other people's comments. The only time you'll see him in comments is people relentlessly making videos about him. It's the oddest thing. I can't think of another content creator who more people have built their platform off of talking about. And when you see him in comments, it's almost always because someone is just posting and pinned. All their pinned videos are commentary about him. So you're saying that we were in a Native kids post and then we posted the video? No, you have no idea what you're talking about. He and I have been talking about how can we get Black and Native TikTok together. All right, before we think of how we can get Black and Native TikTok together, let's think about why we have been so separated from each other. Let's think about what are the reasons, what are the trigger points that keep us from carrying on decent conversations with each other and moving past what our great grandparents and our grandparents did to our parents that got a lot of us not really knowing who we are and struggling with our identity. It's a disease, you know. White supremacy is a cancer that infected us.
Yeah.
And affected the way that we with each other.
Can I ask you a question though? Do you feel that post did that?
What?
Brought Native and Black TikTok together? Because this is, and before you answer, let me tell you where my point's coming from. I love Lance to death. I have followed him forever, and you know I think very highly of you. You and I have had conversations before. So after looking and listening, because when I first heard the post, from my viewpoint, you know how I interpreted it, I didn't get it at first. But then it dawned on me, the word choice was deliberate, right? But then also the type of person I am, going through comments and looking at comments that were liked, and I'm not talking about you, but ones that Lance did respond to or did like, I'm like, okay, this is obviously directed to someone because that is the perception that was given. Now, whether it was or not, none of my business, especially if it was an Indigenous person. However, the only thing I say in regards to that is, while it was strategic what you guys did, how you had it in your mind to open up other conversations, just the acknowledgement that it did not necessarily do that in some cases. Because the amount of comment sections I go in and there is blatant anti-blackness from Indigenous people and from white people, and then people speaking on Indigenous affairs or classification is tremendous because of the nuance that was missing. Now, also in saying that, as
okay, because I want to.
Let me finish
Okay,
really quick.
go ahead.
Also, in saying that, I can't dictate what anybody else does on their platform. I don't think that you as a Black woman, whether on your platform or on his, have to explain anything to anyone. But we have to acknowledge and understand that because of whom we are, regardless of the level of content creator we are, regardless of any personal relationships on or off the app or anything people think they know about us personally that has been made public, you know, they have their perceptions of what they've seen. We have to acknowledge that sometimes what we set out to do is not what happens. And it bothered me, and I'm just a spectator in this. I'm just looking. It bothered me to see the amount of people discredit your Blackness solely off of what you said because they couldn't interpret it themselves. And I think that we have to understand and even take a little bit of responsibility to the fact that, okay, maybe this was not the best way to introduce the conversation. Now, after hearing you explain it, I get it. I totally understand, because I think you and Lance are two extremely brilliant people and you know what the fuck you're doing. But I just need to set that out there, that because so much nuance was left, we cannot be surprised by the amount of interpretation that came from that. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
I don't think it. So wait, can I say something? I have to say something about this. Then you can go ahead, Jones. I don't think it was necessary to even dive into what they meant. I don't think it needed any nuance. I believe these issues existed whether they made this post or not. And those people were those people before that post existed. And all that did is give them space to show their ignorance and their true colors. There are anti-Black Indigenous people that exist on this planet. There are racist white people that exist on this planet. And all that post did is allow them to speak their truth. What she is not responsible for, culpable for, and cannot even stop. So yes, it did exactly what, in my opinion, it did exactly. The conversation was about whether she's Black or white or mixed. That conversation might have needed to be had for some people. Whether anti-Blackness and Indigenous community needed to be discussed, it is being discussed now. All these things had to happen. And as content creators, we don't have control on none of these things. One, what we only have control of, and I'm going to make this clear, is what we say.
That is true.
What comes out of our mouths. What people think about what we speak on is something that comes from inside, what they're working and what they're dealing with. Those people who are anti-black have always been anti-black.
And I'm not
That's
disagreeing
what
with
it
any of
is.
this.
And
And
hold
that's
on. I just want to answer the Taco question because Taco says she has imposter syndrome, and I was correct. Imposter syndrome has absolutely nothing to do with you believing that you are something or trying to present yourself as something. It has only to do with your feelings of adequacy and success. That's it. It's self-doubt, chronic self-doubt about success, influence, or it does. Oh, wait a minute. It does say it's an intellectual fraudulence. It has nothing to do with what you present. So I just wanted to add that. But go
Thank
ahead,
you.
guys.
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
need to specify before you say anything, Ms. Jones, too. I'm not downing, excuse me, I'm not trying to talk down on what y'all set out to accomplish. I just want us to not be so surprised when we get these responses when we lack nuance. Not saying we have to
Who said
specify
we
it
were
every
surprised
time,
though?
but this is
I'm
what I'm
not
I'm
saying.
not
surprised.
surprised. This is
We
exactly
talked.
the effect that I thought it was going to have.
People are crazy.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. And the problem, I think, is that people live in a vacuum on TikTok that today is the only day. Today is the only
Is
day
she
that
breaking up for
exists
y'all or just me?
tomorrow. We have to
I
speak on
think
these
it's
issues now.
her a little
It's a
bit.
sense of urgency, which
Hey,
is
Miss
white supremacy
Jones.
culture.
Miss Jones, I think
Yeah.
you're lagging just a little bit. Can you say that again? I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay, let me just get a little closer to my window. Oh, I don't even remember what I was saying. Sorry, that's one of my weak points.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to hear what you were saying and it kind of broke up.
No, please, if I'm ever breaking up, definitely, because there's people on live that will just keep talking. I think I might have to drop and come back.
Okay. Do y'all still hear an echo? And I think the thing that's lost is, too, a lot of people have to understand me and Miss Jones have had several conversations about a lot of things before. But I have to make it clear to everybody else what I'm saying. Is this still breaking up? Are y'all good? Okay. Hey,
I
Ray,
can
you
hear
got to
you
let
pretty
Miss Jones
good.
back in, honey.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think the conversation needed to be had too. At first, like I did have to listen to it a few times, and then after she explained it, like I was listening to some responses, I didn't get too much into it, but that I think the most part too was if like, but she answered that too, was like if it's yourself identifying that way or how other people perceive you, because to me that felt a little different because I'm like I know I identify as indigenous, but I know not all would see me that way, so that was kind of my little conflict with it, but. Yeah.
The thing that, and while we wait for her to get Miss Jones back up, the thing that also got me a lot within the comment sections that drove me fucking insane was the amount of non-native and non-black people who inserted themselves into the conversation because they were offended by something that was not even directed to them. Like, that drove me crazy.
Yeah, I just seen like some of my mutuals that are native post some stuff. I didn't see too much of the comments, so I was like, I'm gonna try to stay out of this one, but
No, there were literal white people, not white passing, not white presenting anything, literal white people so adamantly upset about what was said between Lance and Miss Jones that they made it about them. When in order to be white passing and or white presenting at all, it is associated with a race, not an ethnicity, not a nationality. It is a race.
exactly. Yeah.
All right,
And
we're waiting for Miss Jones to Ray to bring Miss Jones back up, y'all.
okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, honey.
Oh no, you're good. And I did want to talk on like I know there has been anti-blackness in the indigenous community, and that is something that I know we do need to work on as well. I feel like growing up, I didn't like experience that, or observe that or see that in the community. Maybe here and there from some like distant family members, but I don't know, it was always crazy to me to like, I'm like, okay, we're all in the same boat, you know what I mean?
No, I agree. And listening, and I'm glad that Miss Jones has publicly came out to say it because it does add the missing nuance that people weren't getting from it. However, in that same sense, it's just I don't know. I have a problem. It's always the people who don't understand how race, ethnicity, nationality works, let alone understand historical and or current context in regards to passing and presenting, that always have something to say. And I also need there to be, while, they want to bring the Native and the Black community in certain ways, we still have to understand there's still parts of that conversation that's not for each other. And that's my thing. Like I refuse to speak on the classification of a Native person because I'm not Native. Ethnicity does not equal skin color.
Yeah, no, and I've seen, like I love your guys' TikToks and I watch your guys' TikToks, but I know like a lot of it is like I'm not inserting myself. I just listen, watch, and learn.
Yeah, like, and that's what I'm saying, Miss Jones. I know you're coming back in, but I didn't want you to think like, because I had my own perception. I made a video and I was clear about what my perception is. Now I'm glad that were able to add context to it. But again, you are correct. As a content creator, you're responsible for what you say, not what people interpret. But I just am a little more mindful because I know some of the things I say and the fact that people listen to me and take what I say, whether they like me or dislike me. I try to be a little clear on it. You know what I mean? So, hey, Ray, can you let Miss Jones back in? She dropped because she was lagging.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Go ahead. I'm still here. I just had to, take care of issues. I'm still here though.
It's all good. Because, like, you and I have had discussions about a lot of things, especially race related. It just is so irritating to see, like, the amount of people whom it took for me in order to get full context for myself, like my interpretation, to go through comments, to look at subsequent videos and things like that. Because when I first saw it holistically, yeah, y'all were absolutely right. And for me, that stems across any demographic of people. You know what I mean? But it also, it just opened the door for all this anti-blackness, all of these people talking about Native business when it is not theirs. And that's like a pet peeve. And I hated that. Not saying that you were at fault for that. You know what I mean? Those are just my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think we could control any of it.
I think it's like you mentioned, it's all people who aren't even affected by this issue. It's the people who don't identify as the thing that I'm saying, the thing that I'm talking about, who are policing me. It's also the people who like are these flag-toting patriots who are always talking about our freedom, who are just threatened by people saying that they don't agree with. And I'm not standing on a podium running for office. This is TikTok. If you are uncomfortable with people who disagree with you, and I'm uncomfortable not as in like I seek out people who disagree with me so that I can, sharpen my debate blade by engaging with people who think differently, because that's my thing. I'm talking about people who like their feelings are hurt in the presence of people who disagree. You can block these people. You can block me. You can block Lance. You can block Ray. Like, you don't have to be here for that conversation. And it's people that am I breaking up again?
Just not as bad as before, but a little bit, yeah.
Okay, let's try somewhere else. My Wi-Fi is off.
I was gonna say, you good right now?
Today's the last day of my electricity. This is good? All right.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stand right here. It's these freedom protecting patriots that don't let people speak freely about their own opinions.
Right.
And I know that there's weight to the things that I say, but it's subjective for someone in these comments to say it's an unnecessary discussion.
No, it's absolutely
I think it's quite necessary.
A needed discussion.
I think it's totally necessary. And in fact, I feel like, so before I broke up, I was saying that people behave as if there's no tomorrow on TikTok. Arena, hey, they behave as if they don't give a hot take today. There's just not going to be another moment, and it makes them speak impulsively It makes them not like even put the connections between the things that they're saying. Like this person who allegedly accused me of saying that rip up your son's native card and then disappeared. You can't even keep up with your own argument because you're acting out of impulse. You're acting out of just a visceral reaction to something that makes you uncomfortable. And I am not in the business of protecting white fragility. And I'm seeing a lot of non-white content creators showing their whole ass to come for me in defense of white fragility. And that's what
that was a huge problem.
And I don't mind that that's happening because it's showing me exactly who is aligned with these follow-up messages that are going to happen. Because unlike some people who they saw the message and they had to get on their phone, they didn't learn from the Wombland saga not to impulsively act on what you think you know and to just pause for a second. Because if you notice, days 1 through 4, it was, you know what, I knew this, he's a blah, 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 blah. And then so many people re-following him, apologizing to him in DMs. I didn't see all the DMs. He and I have literally in that sense. And a lot of people who were just so quick to jump on the anti-him bandwagon and step back and said, actually, you know what? That's not what I thought it was. And that is exactly how this conversation is going. That's exactly how this conversation is going to go. This is prophetic to conversations that happen later on. Because Lance and I don't see this as the end-all be-all of the conversation around white passing, white presenting, Afro-Indigenous inclusion into the Native identity. All of this is an ongoing conversation, and he and I are going to be doing this for the rest of our lives. He's in academia. I'm in social justice as a career. I'm not going to stop doing this. We just see that TikTok is a tool to keep doing the work that we are going to be doing until we're old and dead.
Right.
This isn't something that I'm just putting on like a hat for fun. And so
can I interrupt really quick?
With the direction and the black hole and the anti-blackness and the native and people speaking on the natives, I see that. And I think that this is all like accumulate this process in your mind, associate it with everything that you've come to learn so far, and understand that there will be more steps going in the future. There's going to be more conversations. There are going to be more problematic things that we say. And I want to reiterate again, we are not in the business of protecting white feelings. I'm not going to try to think about how I can say something to make something palatable for white ears. It's just not how I'm wired, and I refuse to bend myself around white supremacy. I am prepared for the backlash. And what if I wasn't prepared for the backlash? Why would I be here talking about it? I would be all in the backlash. I inherited the backlash from my family and my ancestors. And if I have babies, I'll prepare them for the backlash until this shit is fixed.
Right.
I don't have a right to comfort, nor do I have an expectation that life will ever be comfortable for me or Lance or our babies. But the conversation has to start. It's already started. It started a while ago, and it's continuing on, and there will be a tomorrow. And there'll be more conversations to happen. And I see that unity. But growth is painful sometimes. Growth is ugly sometimes. And sometimes you got to say shit that brings your friends up to the surface and your enemies up to the surface.
And I can understand that. I mean, I can. I appreciate having the conversation with you to see where it was going, like the intention, because I just feel like, and I will be the first to tell you, I'm very self-aware. Like at the end of the day, am human, and going by the things I saw just gave a different type of interpretation. Not necessarily. The only different interpretation I had of y'all is that it may have been directed to somebody else. But I just do. It's sorry. The amount of anti-blackness that was seen from this was so disheartening. The amount of people, to include Black people, trying to insert themselves in the classification of Native people, whether they are mixed or not, when it's not our place, disheartening to see. And after like watching, like I said, I got, okay, you said if you identify, which is a self-identification, not societal. I got that, because I think amongst like-minded people who think a certain way, we can catch on to it at some point. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, I don't know. I'm still at the point where I am not coddling white folks. I'm not doing it. But in the same sense, it's sometimes I want while y'all's actions were intentional, I want us also to be intentional with the understanding that sometimes what we do, not saying this is what happened, but what we do to create conversation, to bring togetherness amongst certain groups, that sometimes it does the opposite in certain instances.
Bride of Chaos, didn't you say that you were going to rip up your son's card?
Okay, so that's the person who came on to talk to Ray that said you said it to somebody else who was like Daddy Long Legs or something. I think technically, really honestly, they need to come in the box and have a conversation with you, because they are the ones that said you said it.
How our community received it, not how it was intended. Who's our community?
She's indigenous.
Okay, so you are an indigenous person. Are you a person who would identify as a white presenting indigenous person?
And honestly, outside, it's not even the point of her interpretation of your actual video, because Bree had mentioned stop deflecting back to that and go back to how she lied on you because of her interpretation of your comment. That's where she needs to start at, not the video.
That is in the fervor that people get into when they have something that folks latch onto as a means to hate Lance. Because at the end of the day, I don't really think many of you actually care about this issue. You just don't like Lance. And any tool that you can possibly use to disparage him and to try to run him off this app, you're going to use. And I think that lends itself to misinterpretation, because you come to the table ready to fight. You don't come to the table ready to have this conversation. And that's why you do things like mix up who said what, and I have receipts, now I don't have receipts. And then you said this, and then you said, and now you're in the comments. No, because you aren't listening to the thing that we're saying. And it's problematic to go into the comments with your assumptions. Like, everyone made this about Witchy Twitchy. Like, he and I, like, literally did not even think of her when we were saying, should we do this post? Should we say this post is something we've been talking about? I don't know. Let's do it.
But you know where people got that from, right?
For the person who tagged her in the video and asking that person, why did you tag her in the first place? Oh, she's going through so much. Blah, blah, blah. Then it's the same exact thing that happened with the Womblands. The reason why Witchy Twitch was brought into the Womblands was because somebody tagged her in the video. Somebody mentioned her by name. Someone who I will not mention.
Wait, hold on. I'm back.
Can you invite Brad in? Because she's in the comments. I think where people are getting that from, I know about the Womblands from what I saw where Twitchy was brought up or whatever. But in the comments, when someone tagged her, I think everybody is going off of Lance's response to that tag.
He said, case in point. What does that mean, though?
I mean, to me, because I don't want to speak for him. She's a white presenting native.
Does she self-identify as white presenting?
I can't produce a receipt, but I will say subjectively and full of potential flaws that I could be wrong. But I recall at some point in time acknowledging a European ancestry or acknowledging a white presentation. I recall something to this tune, but I can't remember, and I don't want to say that I know for sure that she did or she does.
I just think that's where everybody kind of ran with the narrative, and I'm not going to lie, part of me thought the same because of his reply to her. to not her, but
Yeah.
to that person who tagged her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Fair enough.
But the person above you is the one who said that you said that the native child should tear up their card.
No, that she should tear up her son's card.
Well, no, they said
Right?
that you said it, and you said it to someone, but
Right.
that's
Right.
that's who was in talking to Ray
Gotcha.
earlier.
Uh-huh.
You want to talk, Brad?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. You're kind of low,
Okay.
but we can hear you.
Let me see if I can get this to turn up. Is that better?
A little bit, yeah. Can you hear her, Miss Jones? Can you hear her? You can hear her, Miss Jones? I think Miss Jones is lagging again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess with it and see if it'll turn up a little bit. Hello?
Okay, we can hear you. I just want to make sure the one that needs to hear you is Miss Jones. So I just want to make sure I want her to answer when she's able to hear you.
Okay. Yeah,
Miss
this
Jones,
is
let me
breaking up
know
on my
when
end
you
and I
can
can't
hear her. Well, she can hear you. Go ahead. Brad, she can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So, I just wanted to start all this out with an apology because I feel like the nuance has brought a lot of clarity. So, Ms. Jones, I do apologize because you are not the person who said that. It was the person who commented who said it. And your response seemed to imply that you agreed that they should cut up their card and indicated that the child was white, even though both of their parents were Native. So, I am going to acknowledge that I was wrong in saying that you stated that because you did not state that. And then I also saw that you said in the comments prior to getting on live that you didn't understand what that meant when they said something about their card. Is that correct?
Wait, is she,
I know what ripping a card would in terms of my
you're breaking up again, honey.
I know can you guys hear me?
I can hear you clearly now.
I know what the card is. I don't know what ripping that up would symbolize or mean in terms of in reference to the conversation or the statement that I made.
Okay.
So I should just rip up my son's Native card because he is white presenting. And I'm like, sure.
Ed, can I let Nancy in?
Absolutely.
Because she was. I think she can come in and on this part.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ab.
No problem.
And implies
So the significance
on she of his indigeneity. She's
so the significance of the card
permission to revoke. I have an opinion of people who represent themselves as white in the world.
You're breaking up
Your
again.
connection is so. Maybe you should come back out.
Yeah, Miss Jones, maybe get off of. Sometimes that happens to me. If you get off of Wi-Fi, like take the Wi-Fi off and just use cellular, and that'll make it clear. I only hopped in because I don't want the communication to go into any type of space that is going to cause Miss Jones specifically to cater to anything regarding the apologizer's feelings. So I don't I don't want it to go there. I need the dynamics of this to be understood that this is your accountability space, Bride of Chaos. So it is not a space for us to try to understand where you were coming from. It's not our space. It's not a space for us to try to feel like maybe it's just literally at this point where you are, I feel like you just in acknowledgement and accountability, and you got to sit in that space respectfully, please.
Yeah, I respect that. I'm not here to try and make excuses. My interpretation is open for debate, and her clarity in what she said. And I acknowledge that what I interpreted her to mean is not what she meant, and that she was not the person who specifically said that he should rip up his card. Her comment was in response to the parent of that child who implied that they should rip up the card.
Okay, and we're not going to get on another train. We're not going to get on another train to call and say, well, what about the time you said this? What are we going in that direction?
No, we're not. And we're not going also, and I'm seeing the comments, you're not in my space. We're not going to attack a Black woman, and she's not on trial here.
That's what I felt in my heart, in my spirit.
She's not on trial, and that's why I switched who's in the seats at this point, because I'm not here managing what's happening. And I feel like there is an experience that Black women have that no one can speak to unless you are looking like us. And so she's not going to be on trial here.
Correct.
For anyone. Yes. You're going to stick to the comment in what you said, that you had receipts, which was a lie. You had no receipts about what you said to me specifically. You said that she said something she never said. And it's not up for debate. If you say something, you need to own that. And so your language is what bothers me most. But she's not on trial. If any Indigenous people have a problem with her, you have to go in your space and discuss that. This is not the space where you're going to get up here and asking a Black woman a whole bunch of questions about Indigenous issues.
Yes,
but she spoke in circles, Ice, and so now I'm just addressing that. She said it's up for debate, and it's not up for debate. And Ice, she wasn't in here in the very beginning, so you probably don't even understand what I'm referring to. But she said some things that was specific to Miss Jones, stating that Miss Jones said a specific thing that she did not say.
Yeah.
And she said she had receipts for it, and then made a post, which I thought was disingenuous as well, because she said she was going to send it to me. And then she made a post addressing Miss Jones, telling her to stay out of Indigenous people's business.
To be fair, they did suggest she do that. People did tell her to go.
I didn't suggest that. I asked her to send it to me. I asked her to friend me what she did and send it to me so I can look at it.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of things that going on that you guys are not privy to, because you probably just got in here in the last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But and then she was 10 toes down, constantly holding on to what she said about Miss Jones for a very long time. So I think it's important that she sit in what she created.
Right, because she's trying to hop out, and I'm going to tell you how you're hopping out. You're trying to hop out. Figured the first call that you had is incorrect, so now you're jumping to another call on the native card.
Stay on this, Nancy, please.
Because I'm cooking native card, so we're not going to test her native knowledge, because that's where this is going. It's going to let's
exactly
on her native knowledge, since she is with a native man. How much does she know about what the card is? Do you know what that is? We're not going to do that, because that is jumping out of your accountability to then go again to projecting onto somebody else. You have this feeling now. You got to project it and saying, "Well, you're wrong in this." No, just sit in your wrong. Just sit in it. And then
no, that wasn't my intent. I was just asking because in the comments she said she didn't know what it meant.
And one of the things that you have said the most in the comments is the intent versus impact. So just remember, in the future, before you accuse somebody of being so malicious because you don't understand their intent and all you feel is the impact, understand that you do the same exact thing.
I think we all do.
That little bit of silence is necessary.
Don't all do is simply listen. If we don't understand, we ask a question. if we feel that we might not have the right information, we maybe stop talking. We don't continue talking. We don't continue making accusations, or we don't continue making posts until we have a grip of what's really going on.
That's why I sat in the live and just listened for a long period of time and didn't speak, because I wanted to hear what you had to say. I didn't want to speak over you or for it to devolve into something that I don't think any of us wanted it to devolve into.
I
don't want people thinking.
And I just want you to realize that you are one of many people who are doing this from a lot of different angles, and the exact same effect that you had on you commenting, you posting, you know that directs people to me. In the same way that people accused us of directing this video at Witchy Twitch, all it takes is one person to start a rumor. All it takes is one person to say something, dig their toes in their heels into what they just said, and then other people latch on to it. And there's consequences to doing this. Larger consequences than just you, because you're participating in this big conversation, attacking a content creator who is being attacked constantly from every single angle. And I just wonder how much of your interest in continuing to post and continuing to make the accusation, and how much of that investment really has to do with protecting the Indigenous identity. Like, how much of it is really in the spirit of trying to, what was your interest in inserting yourself into this? Like, what was your aim? Let's just say you were right in saying what you were doing and spreading the information that you were spreading and pointing me out specifically. What was your intent?
My aim was to protect Indigenous children.
So if you wanted to protect Indigenous children, why would you not read the comment that the parent left and question them? Because that is the concern I have, that a parent would say that about their child.
It was obvious that they were speaking from an emotional place. And then when she responded, it emotional.
Excuse me?
I did not interpret her response as being emotional.
You said, but you just said that. You just said, even if she was causing
this woman and her child. This is the accusation that you're in this box because you accused me of attacking a Native child, not the mother who is talking about her child's card. You intentionally, this is just exactly like I had a miscarriage and I want miscarriage sympathy. You are talking about protecting the child. You brought in the child. You didn't talk about the mom. And I think that's manipulative. And I think you knew exactly what you were doing by bringing up this woman is attacking Native children. Why? Because people have a visceral response to the attack of children.
And that's why I said it was malicious from the beginning.
From the very start. And I hear your apology. And I've heard it all before. I'm so sorry. Most of the time it's with tears. So I appreciate that you're speaking in a very leveled way. But as we continue to tease this out, it's becoming clear that even this apology feels disingenuous.
I told you that from the beginning, y'all.
Exactly what you were doing when you chose to take the angle of she attacked Native children. She attacked a Native child. You didn't say anything. A mother said she'd do this to her child. That would be a mother doing this to her child. Because she saw TikTok, she's going to go and rip her child's Indigenous card up.
Correct.
And revoke him of his Native identity. That's what happened. You're saying you knew it was sarcastic. You took that sarcasm and my response to it as if she was... You didn't even bring up the fact that this is what a mother said.
And I want you guys to know this is white supremacy in you. And all of us.
What really happened.
And the bigger topic on this in the observation, I want you guys to know that when you guys experience this stuff, because and when you do it, you feel valid. And I want everybody to know, and this is not specific to any race group Every race group does this. Even in our Black community, we have this. When you respond that way, where you can't see the humanity in a Black person, but you acknowledge the humanity in another person, I want you to know that is white supremacy resting in you, just sitting there inside of you. That you can literally, you will go, and to use the words attack also, like other attacking, I want you guys to know these are not just words that your actual brain is coming up with. This is indoctrination. This is indoctrination. You've been indoctrinated to speak this way when you see a Black person or Black woman talking. You've been indoctrinated to see the humanity in others, but not see the humanity in response to that. You've been indoctrinated. And this space, you might feel like it's an attack on you or something. They're attacking me. I want you to know these are spaces that you're being granted as a gift to grow, to erase some of that indoctrination within yourself, to acknowledge that it's not actually you that's saying this stuff. This is zaddy white supremacy in your brain activating. And it needs to be acknowledged. You need to point him out and tell him to get out.
If I were the only person that felt that response was an attack on that child, since that's the word that y'all are using.
That's what you used too.
Yes, you used.
I never said the word attack.
You said the child. So I'm just
responded.
saying. In the beginning of our conversation, when you and I was speaking with none of these, you said she was attacking an indigenous child.
I saw that in the chat of this live.
You literally said that. You said it.
Where did I say attack?
You said in the very beginning. Listen.
I did not say attack.
I am struggling here, guys.
I said she responded to the child.
No, you said she attacked an indigenous child, and you said it over and over. But anyway,
I said when I joined this live, the first thing I said when I joined this live was, I'm already a little bit anxious because I don't like the use of these words attack and violence, because all I think of is the violence at the hands of white supremacy that myself and my ancestors have experienced. Why would I have come into this live to defend myself and my good name if I didn't see an accusation from your username? That, I mean, it's like a Twilight Zone episode.
Maybe you don't remember.
This is exactly white. This is exactly what we experience every day as Black people. Gaslight the shit. I said this from the beginning, and I know some of you guys were like, no, it's not malicious. This is not her intent. I know what I'm talking about. And there was never any remorse. Asari is followed up with remorse. She still has that video up there, and she said directly to her, even knowing that she was not correct about her statement, stay out of indigenous people business. You knew you had misquoted this woman from the beginning before you posted that. That's why I say your intentions were always malicious in my mind. Because before you even made that post, you knew that's not what you said. Like, can we just get to the nitty gritty of this? Before you posted that on your page, you knew you came in on my live and you said, this is what Miss Jones said. At first you said, this is what Modern Warrior said. And then you changed it when you got in the box. This is what Miss Jones said. She said, if her son is presenting, then he needs to cut up or rip up his indigenous card. And I said, did she say that? Yes, that's what was said. And I asked you over and over again. And then you said you were going to get the receipts. And you came back with no receipts. You came back with a blank piece of paper. And now you're holding firm 10 toes in, you're still doing it. And this is dangerous for me as a Black woman, and for her as a Black woman, and for Nancy as a Black woman, because we experience this on a regular basis. And then we have a visceral response, which is typically annoyance and anger. Then we are the bad guys. I don't want to hold space for you in your backtracking, and I don't want to hold space for you to be 10 toes down while you're literally lying on her and me. So I'm going to ask you to leave the box, because I cannot take this anymore. And I don't do this to anyone.
That's fine.
She never said
I don't have
it.
Any problem leaving.
And great.
I
do some work.
She didn't say it.
But you're lying about something else. You're just a liar. And that's how I see you.
What am I lying
and you've
about?
been malicious. You've been malicious this whole time. Your intentions were
I've
malicious.
never been malicious. No,
Yes, you were. You
have
have been malicious this entire time. And I don't doubt this for a second. So have a good day.
I have not been malicious at all.
Yes, you have.
I came in here in good faith.
Good faith of your own faith, not having anything to do with Black people. Your own faith in yourself and your lie, and your ability to not hold yourself accountable. That's the faith you had to lie. I'm not dealing with that. I don't let people be violent to us.
No, because the thing is, they don't realize that we've had this same conversation over and over and over. It's the same tools, the same tricks, the same dissonance, the same ability to say, well, that's what I'm saying now, so it doesn't matter what happened before. The same way that history is rewritten. Well, you're not slaves now, so why do we even have to think about what happened before? I'm apologizing now. And it's your responsibility. It's the same way it was your responsibility to respond to that person the way that I thought you should. It's your responsibility to take my apology and roll with it and leave it alone. I'm benevolent. I am virtuous. My reputation is clean. My reputation I'm sorry. I'm the victim now. And it's just a repeat.
Yeah,
I'm shaking, guys, because I'm so
it's
upset.
upsetting. It's upsetting because let me say something else.
I would have never put myself through this and would have never allowed someone to come into my space and play these sort of games. This is definitely WS tactics, and this has been used on us for a very, very long time. And I knew what I knew from the beginning, and everybody said, no, Ray, I don't think so. And I knew it.
Yes, I'm extremely triggered. I'm extremely triggered right now.
Me too.
Because as Black women, we have to go through this all the time. And it's on a daily basis. It's either we just accept it and keep it pushing, or we speak out and then we go more into that stereotype of being the angry Black woman. Not even exhibiting any anger. Because first of all, the initial comment was irrelevant for the video. Miss Jones, you and Modern Warrior made that video, and I got it. And I didn't think specifically of one group. Like when I told Ray this morning, I didn't even see the comments because I didn't go to the comments. But when I went to the comments, I saw so many irrelevant ass comments that had nothing to do with the post. Somebody put a relevant ass comment involving their own child, and you responded to it. And this woman sat up here and tried to villainize you for responding to a comment on your own post.
Yeah.
And expect for you to just take it while she sit up here and spread lies on the internet, but you're supposed to be humbled.
And it's happening again right now.
She came to the wrong space. She came to a space where Black women were talking about a Black issue as it pertained to that video, and tried to spread gossip about first Lance, but it didn't ride, and then you, because that was the only response she could find to try to back up where she was coming from.
And it's still happening because there's someone in here, love.444777. Is it not white supremacy to say that someone isn't indigenous enough or Black enough? Nobody said that.
Who said that? Who said that?
It's irrelevant. No one's saying that. The video specifically said if you identify this way, if you identify as an apple, if you are apple passing, then you are an apple. The fuck?
Like, you guys have to slow down. Like, we keep saying it. I keep saying it. I'll keep saying it. I keep saying it. You have to slow down. You guys, you just jet through the alphabet and don't stop and slow down. Nobody in that video said that. Nobody even insinuated to that. The words were direct, concise, and deliberate.
Yeah. And only 7 seconds. Only 7 seconds.
Absolute last person to say to isn't enough, because I know exactly what that conversation, I know what that bullying feels like. I know what it feels like to have my Black community tell me that I'm trying to be white, or you're not Black enough to be Black. Know that when I tried as a kid to seek refuge in white space, that wasn't.
God, you're still going. Like my frontal is itching. It's itching. My cortex is itching. My frontal cortex is itching.
I'm sorry. They're still doing it. When I saw you from the first thing where they tried to insert you all in that Womblands thing that had nothing to do with you, and I saw you in a little corner of a video that somebody else posted, I saw you as a fair-skinned, Afrocentric Black woman. Period.
Mm-hmm. I just would never tell anybody that they're not enough to be who they are.
You guys, I apologize for yelling, but Bride, this is her second time triggering me, because I was here for the original conversation too. And like Ray said, as soon as she opened her mouth, we just seen where it was going, because she was just trying to villainize a Black woman. I kept saying,
that's not what the video said. I'm gonna jump in. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm getting angry because I feel like I'm in first grade. That is not what it said. That is not what it said. We're gonna review until we kick you out the class. The video did not say that. The video did not say if they are presenting as or passing. The video said if you identify. You cannot skip over words and skip over the letters in the alphabet before you get to Z and then say, I know my alphabet. Yeah, let's sing it one more time. You cannot do that. The video did not say that. Listen to words. Listen to the word, the next word, the next word, the next word, next word. Observe that word. Observe that word. What does this word next to this word mean? Before you get to the period. You cannot rush through the whole fucking phrase, get to the period and be like, I got it. That's what, then you come in here and say stuff like that.
In that short phrase, in the 7 seconds, there was no room for inference.
Yes.
There's no room for your interpretation based off your emotion. It was a direct statement. And it could apply to a lot of different groups. There are a lot of different groups where people could decide to be white passing. It's not specific to Indigenous people or Black people.
Whoa, hold up, y'all. Lance has done nothing but post hateful, racist content since being with this woman. You see where this is going, guys?
I follow Lance. I see the same videos you see.
Like
that's anti-blackness. That's anti-blackness. We're gonna acknowledge what that is. It's anti-blackness. You're the only racist I see so far in here besides the other ones that's covert. But that's anti-blackness.
We knew this was going to come out.
Yep.
I knew what the underlying issue, and I said this. This is how my live started. I said there are people who have an issue. I don't want them to be removed.
Nope, keep them in here.
There are people who have an issue with Lance because he is with her. Not only is she Black, but she's intelligent. And that wasn't a troll, sweetheart. That was someone who has been in his live and has been speaking quite eloquently until this part came up. That wasn't true. These are people's thoughts. There are people who have a problem with her and Lance because he is with her. Not only is she a Black woman, but she's a Black woman with dreadlocks. This is an issue.
And she's intelligent.
I knew this was a problem.
Yes.
But people said, no, that's not the problem. Yes, it is.
We said this during the Womblands things. We said it was going to trigger. I said it was going to trigger everybody that Miss Jones Black, that he's with the Black. It's going to trigger all y'all. It's literally going to make you vomit in your mouth. It's going to make your stomach hurt.
White woman.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh, why do you think that she's not, she can't, why do you feel like Lance is in control of anything? That's what's the disillusion. That's the patriarch talking. Using her for what? The patriarch is talking. Why do you think he's in control of anything? That's what's interesting to me. Why isn't this woman enjoying her life?
Content since
what's wrong with these people?
Like, so he posted a what is his name? Eduardo Franco from Stranger Things appreciation post. He doesn't celebrate 4th of July because that's bullshit. If I die, I want to come back as a Cocker Spaniel. What
saw
is
that
colonial mindset? What else was there?
I love how he explained that colonial mindset.
Where's the hate?
Yeah.
What's the influence that you
what is he being blamed for? Because she is who she is and he is who he is. This man has not changed. The only difference is who's on his arm. And that's your problem.
Attention for no reason. He caught my attention because he's not afraid of speaking his mind. And I found that very sexy. I was like, he's not afraid of white people. He's not afraid of putting his body and his reputation in danger in order to speak what
like
he thinks.
Like you said before, y'all are like-minded individuals that came together, that were attracted to each other by whatever the universe decided it was going to be. Y'all found each other and was on the same wavelength. And that's what it is. And you don't have to explain that to nobody. And let these fools sit out here and hate, because all they're doing is exposing themselves.
And can I say this? I don't care if you're white or not. White supremacy can be upheld by anyone, even by me.
Mm-hmm.
So because you are not white does not mean that you don't have white viewpoints and have white-centric characteristics. White supremacy can be upheld by any person. So you saying that does not clear you from being anti-black or a racist. It really doesn't for me. And I know exactly who you people are. And I'm saying you people, the racist, the anti-black people. I know what you think. I know how you
all the Clarence Thomas's, Uncle and Auntie Ruckus's of the Black community. We know that.
2020, everything that you've said has been in bad faith. So I don't think for a moment that you're sorry if this triggers is valid, is genuine. When you say, Miss Jones, how do you respond to people who call you a pick-me? If you want a real answer to that, I don't respond to that.
Period. She doesn't have to. Her crown is completely fixed. It is adjusted. And she doesn't even have to respond for Lance. So if you have any questions for her, well, actually, you know what? She's not going to be interrogated any further. If you don't know what that comment meant with Clarence Thomas, then I'm sorry for you.
You've been under a rock, friend.
Right. If you don't know what that means, then I'm sorry for you. Then you need to, a lot of you guys need to educate yourself. I can't hold space for this ignorance. I'm drawing the line for her.
Get off of TikTok and go watch the real news and read some books and study history.
I'm drawing the line for her. I'm going to draw the line.